I thought he was magical in the fourth quarter. Some of the plays that he was making in that game just shows you, like, there's a reason why this guy was picked number one.
Yeah.
There's a reason why we've been following the hype of this guy since his freshman year at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Okay, because of some of these plays. I mean, look right here. The speed, the legs, all those type of things, and to bring this team back from double digits in the fourth quarter to win these games, that's how you build trust from your teammates.
After 10 weeks of the 2025 NFL season, the hot takes about Caleb Williams look pretty stupid, including myself. Caleb Williams now has the Bears offense humming, Chicago is 6-3, and for the first time in almost half a century, it looks like they've actually found a real franchise quarterback. The arm talent is still outrageous, his timing and chemistry with this young offense get better every week, and if the play breaks down, his legs are still a problem for everyone. And here's the harsh truth that a lot of people don't want to hear. His disappointing rookie year said a lot more about the Chicago Bears as an organization than it ever really did about Caleb Williams. KRICH crew, we are back with another banger. Got this hat when we were in Chicago, straight from Soldier Field. But look, we just got to jump right into it. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, but we got to go over first things first is me. Everybody kind of knows if you look at videos past on this channel, I definitely have called out Caleb Williams on some of his things that he's done in the past, whether it was him getting sacked, 68 times last year, the Bears just kind of completely wasting all of his talent, and just really a lot of stuff going wrong for Caleb Williams in his rookie year. And even early into this season, a lot of people were kind of questioning if him and Ben Johnson were going to mesh well. And yes, I know a lot of people in my last video about him, I said 6 seconds. You know what I mean. I meant 3 seconds in the pocket, get the ball out, probably less than really that in the NFL. But again, we have to talk about just really how they have fixed Caleb Williams and how Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams are turning this Bears team into a legit team that can make it into the playoffs. And I mean, I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl this year, but they can be a threat to a lot of teams that do make the playoffs and can make a run if everything does go their way. And for as good as things do look now, heading into this 2025 campaign, there definitely were a lot of concerns around the Bears organization, including Caleb Williams. And if you're really wondering why, well, it's because Caleb Williams' rookie season and just all the hype surrounding him fell well below of expectations. Caleb Williams was drafted first overall in that 2024 NFL draft, and for good reason. During his first 2 full seasons as a USC Trojan, he threw for 8,170 yards and 72 touchdowns with just 10 interceptions as he would set the college world alight, winning the Heisman Trophy in 2022 along the way as the standout player in the country. As a result, he's always been marked for success ever since his sophomore year in college, and many people believe that whichever team was lucky enough to draft him had a legitimate pro-ready superstar that they could plug into their team immediately and watch him cook. And well, as we all know, it was the Chicago Bears who had that first overall pick, and all the talk was of this being the perfect setup for a rookie quarterback. But as we all know, it didn't quite work out like that. And yes, don't get me wrong, because while it is true that Caleb Williams had above average weapons in Romo Doomsday, DJ Moore, and Keenan Allen at the wide receiver position, that offense was going to be held back by 2 main factors. For one, the Bears' offensive line was absolutely abysmal in 2024, leading Williams to consistently spend more games running for his life under severe pressure. Over the course of that 2024 season, Williams avoided 50 sacks, a figure which almost doubled that of Lamar Jackson, who avoided the second most with 28. And yet, despite his best efforts, Williams was still sacked 68 times over the course of the season, which is the 3rd most in league history. And look, let's be frank, if it was any other quarterback behind that Bears offensive line, the Bears probably would have broken that all-time sack record. I mean, hell, you could even say that Lamar Jackson would have struggled in that situation. But now the second reason why Williams' rookie season was such a disappointment is simply the coaching of Bears head coach Matt Eberflus and the rest of his staff. The best example of his shortcomings as a head coach came during the agonizing final minute of the Thanksgiving game against the Lions.
6. They have 1 timeout left.
This is like the light box. You could have gotten numbers, but just didn't.
You better hurry.
Oh, no.
Oh, this is disaster in the making here. You're going to have to do something when it comes down to this play. Incomplete, and the game is over.
And our hope was, because it was 3rd going into 4th, that we would re-rack that play. at 18 seconds, throw it in bounds, get it into the field goal range, and then call the timeout. And that's where it was, and that was our decision-making process on that. Again, we were outside the field goal range, so we needed to get a few more yards in there, as close as we can get, and then we're going to call timeout, and that's why we held that last timeout.
We all watched him as he simply let time trickle away despite being across midfield, down 3 points, and with a timeout in hand. This debacle saw Eberflus become the first head coach in a century of Bears football to be fired mid-season as the Bears dropped to 4-8 and effectively ended their season. Oh no, but he wasn't the only one to hit the chopping block. Offensive coordinator Shane Waldron was fired a few weeks before Eberflus for his role in producing a completely lackluster offense. Like, when you talk about dysfunction, this is exactly what was going on last year for the Bears, which is absolutely what you do not need for a rookie quarterback. Despite all of this though, plenty of fans and analysts felt shortchanged by Williams himself, who didn't live up to the high expectations that had been put on his shoulders. Even after the dismal 6-3 loss to the Seahawks, Chris Broussard went in on Williams saying this.
He does have a Pro Bowl running back in DeAndre Swift. He does have a Pro Bowl receiver they added for him in Keenan Allen, and a great number 2 in DJ Moore. And heck, Roma Dunze might be a superstar one day.
And the defense.
And the defense is a top 10 defense. They held them to freaking 6 points.
And look, in his eyes and many others, the team's failings were largely on their young quarterback, and it's fair to say that 2025 was going to be a huge year for Caleb Williams' reputation. Even one PFF article in the offseason labeled Caleb Williams as a potential bust, and they pointed out that struggling as badly as Williams did usually does not end well. But that's the thing, the Bears, they were going to give Williams a fresh start, and it came along with a new head coach.
The Chicago Bears have gotten their man.
It's a win for the Windy City, and this was the #1 candidate to me.
We've got breaking news. Our lead NFL insider Jonathan Jones reporting that the Bears are hiring Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson as their next head coach.
The ideal is if you have a young quarterback to get an offensive-minded head coach so we can grow with him. And I think they give them a chance for this. I'm not going to act like it's a sure thing because like 1 in 4 first-time head coaches succeed, so I understand that it's not a sure thing, but it's the hire I would have made, and I think it's a smart hire by Chicago.
Yes.
Furthermore, the team's general manager Ryan Poles made it a top priority in the offseason to fix the gaping hole in the offensive line.
Guys woke up today to some crazy news. You had started in Kansas City as they traded left guard Joe Thuney to the Chicago Bears.
Well, I think we can look at it from both sides, Laura. From the Bears' standpoint, they clearly have prioritized protecting Caleb Williams. Yesterday, they agreed to send a draft pick to the Los Angeles Rams for Jonah Jaxon, who played for Ben Johnson in Detroit and now is reunited with him in Chicago. And today, they agreed to send a 2026 4th-round draft pick to Kansas City for Joe Thuney.
Joe Thuney is one of the very best in the business, and acquiring him was a real statement from the team that they were serious about protecting their potential franchise quarterback. So now, with a highly regarded new head coach in place and a much improved offensive line built up, there really were no excuses left for Williams coming into the 2025 season. This was going to be a truly make or break for the next big hope in Chicago, with the eyes of the NFL world completely on him. And now look, I'm not saying by any means that Caleb Williams is a finished product and this is the Caleb Williams we're gonna get for the rest of his entire NFL career. No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that through the first 10 games now, there has been a massive improvement and a massive jump in his game in the league. And that's all while he's adapting to a new coordinator and a new head coach this year. Like, just watching him play too, you see a player who is far more assured of himself, having survived the disaster scenario of 2024 and come out stronger. The offensive line has obviously much improved Thuney and Jaxon, but Williams looks a lot cooler in the pocket as well. Then when things do break down, he is still escaping sacks better than almost anyone in the league. So far this season, only 2 teams, the Broncos and Seahawks, have given up fewer sacks than Chicago's 14, and Williams' mobility is definitely a part of that reason. The Bears are definitely happy to lean into his ability to extend the play and make magic happen on the run. I mean, we all know that when he was first drafted, some compared him to Patrick Mahomes due to that exact ability. And trust me, I still know Williams obviously does have a long way to get to those heights that he's compared to, but it is easy to see why those comparisons are made. We've seen him throw some absolute lasers while drifting towards the sideline this year, genuinely showcasing a skill set that very few quarterbacks in the NFL have. Importantly as well, Ben Johnson understands this better than most in the league and appears to be giving Williams a new lease of life, much as he did with Jared Goff back in 2022. His play designs are creating better windows for Moore, Odunze, and the new tight end Colston Loveland, and making Williams' life so much easier. That's the best part too. You can just tell Caleb Williams is taking this opportunity with both hands. And I think most importantly too is we're starting to see Caleb Williams do a little bit less hero ball like he did in college and actually starting to stay in rhythm on time and make proper reads. You know, when he's doing that, Caleb Williams is a very good quarterback. When he tries to do the hero ball stuff, that's where the crazy stuff just starts to happen and you're kind of like, Caleb, stop. Let's get back to the script and keep doing what we're doing. Like, we've seen that week in and week out from him. Like, I mean, no one in the league has had more fourth quarter comebacks or game-winning drives than Williams is for, and we're now at the point of his development where his team is winning because of him, as he looks like a true leader out there. I mean, take for example the thrilling road victory over the Cincinnati Bengals in week 9, whereas the Bears defense nearly threw the game away, giving up 2 touchdowns in less than a minute. Like, this gave the Bengals an improbable 42-41 lead with just 54 seconds left. Any other quarterback would have been totally shell-shocked in this situation, but not Williams.
These are back deep. Odunze motions left. They're blitzing. It's picked up. Caleb throws. Middle of the field. Loveland catch. Breaks away at the 30. Loveland 20. Loveland 10. Loveland end zone. Touchdown Bears!
Then just 1 week later, Williams turned around a 10-point deficit at home to the Giants with just 6 minutes left. On his very first drive, he managed to march the team down 91 yards on just 9 plays, finding Loveland twice and Odunze twice, alongside a superb 29-yard scramble of his own. Then on the next possession, he found Luther Burden on the right sideline for 27 yards before scrambling again, keeping his feet in bounds, and finding the end zone, completing another sensational comeback. Like, look, this is the version of Caleb Williams that was promised coming out of USC. Electric, dynamic, and captivating. It's that kind of guy that will truly elevate an offense and a franchise, especially one with the dreadful quarterback history that Chicago has. And look, it's the guys around him too that are starting to pull their weight as well. Rome Odunze was drafted 9th overall last season and had a solid rookie year with 734 yards and 3 touchdowns. This year though, he looks set to smash through that yardage number, as he's already doubled that touchdown figure from last year with 6, emerging as a serious red zone threat. However, he kind of has struggled with drops at certain times, which definitely is going to be a cause for concern and does need to get figured out quick if they do want to keep having that sort of success together. But I really do think that over time, this relationship between Williams and Odunze is only going to get stronger and scarier for the rest of the NFL. Beyond Odunze though, DJ Moore is still an impressive second option and continues to build up his own relationship with Williams in the passing game. However, I think the most exciting aspect of this Bears offense is the additions of tight end Colston Loveland and wide receiver Luther Burden III in this year's draft. Loveland in particular already looks like he's worth his 10th overall pick that the Bears used on him as a serious playmaking tight end. In that Cincinnati game alone, he managed 118 yards and 2 touchdowns on 8 catches, and he's fast becoming one of Williams' favorite options in both short and long passing downs. As for Luther Burden, he's starting to emerge as an exciting deep threat for this team and a man who forces defensive backs to sit a little bit deeper, keeping them on their toes. Ben Johnson has also hinted that a bigger role is on the way for him, so this offense could be about to get even more explosive. And yes, while we're on the topic of explosiveness too, we have to talk about, and I mean, let me know in the comments too what you think, but the rebound of DeAndre Swift this year. He currently leads the team in scrimmage yards with 754, while averaging a full yard a carry more than in 2024. So much of this is down to Ben Johnson's overhauling of this offense, as everyone just looks better than they did under Eberflus. As a result too, Chicago currently has the league's 7th best scoring offense, averaging 26.6 points per game, something that seemed unthinkable last season when they finished 28th in the NFL. So that leaves the question though, what happens with the Bears going forward? And well, let's be honest, it probably is going to remain the fact that they play in the NFL's toughest division alongside the Packers, Vikings, and the Lions especially, which are just going to be the 3 toughest teams, or 3 of the toughest teams to play week in and week out inside of your own division. The Lions in particular pose a serious problem for Chicago, particularly as they were picked apart 52-21 in an absolute hammering back in week 3 at Ford Field. That game exposed a serious issue that this team does need to resolve if it does want to be a serious contender, which is the defense. Unlike last season, this team cannot rely on the defense to keep them in games, currently ranking 5th last in scoring. As a result, games are frequently left in the hands of Caleb Williams and the rest of his exciting unit. But that kind of comes off with the trade-off, because now the Chicago Bears and just Bears fans in general actually have optimism for the first time at the quarterback position in Chicago. Some of the hype may have come a year early, but make no mistake, we were all watching the emergence of a real star here. Every week, more and more analysts are coming around on Caleb Williams and finally appreciating that Chicago has a special talent on their hands here.
Absolutely. I thought he was magical in the fourth quarter. And we talked about some of the drops, but some of the plays that he was making in that game just shows you, like, there's a reason why this guy was picked number one.
Yeah.
There's a reason why we've been following the hype of this guy since his freshman year at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Okay, because of some of these plays. I mean, look right here. The speed, the legs, all those type of things, and to bring this team back from double digits in the fourth quarter to win these games, that's how you build trust from your teammates.
The team has a tough final stretch, including 2 matchups with Green Bay, trips to Philly and San Francisco, and a Week 18 clash with Detroit. Making the playoffs could be a tough ask here, but the team has already beaten its win total from last season, and there's no doubt that this franchise is moving in the right direction. Right now, it might be a stretch to call this Bears team a true contender, but with this exciting young offense growing together, they could just be 1 year away. The schedule's brutal, the division is unforgiving, and the defense clearly isn't where it needs to be. But the harsh truth about Caleb Williams is simple. He was never the problem. Chicago finally gave him a real head coach, a real offensive line, and a real system, and now he's proving why he went first overall. For a team in a city that's lived through decades of quarterback misery, there's finally a real tangible reason to believe this time it might actually be different.